Hello friends, welcome back to the part 27 of this tutorial series. In this part, we will work on the authentication in our application. So for that, we already have a component, that is login component, which is currently empty. So what I will do, I will go back to my uh, admin pages folder or the template folder, and there is a login.html file. I'll open this with my text editor. I already have that opened here in Notepad++. So from here, I need to copy everything starting from this div id layout authentication till this, and you have to copy it and paste it here. Okay, so as soon as you save it, let's go back to the browser, and I have my server running here. This is my backend, and in my IDE terminal I have the backend and front end both running, okay, on different port numbers. So as you can see on the screen, we already have the login page. So we need to just enable or hook these input fields and create a method in our service to call the backend endpoint. Okay, let's quickly do that. And also we would be adding a couple of divs here for our validation, form validation. Okay, so starting with the form tag here, I'm gonna use the template driven approach, but if you want, you can also use the reactive approach for Angular forms. So I want to keep it simple, so I'll give it a name like login and bind it to ng form, and then you have to use ng submit. So I'll give a method user login, and we'll pass this login template reference here, the form reference. And then under the email, so these are my input fields, as you can see here. Okay, so I'll move them to the next line, and I'll also give this template reference, and I'll bind it to ng model directive. Okay, also I'll bind it to ng model, and I'll make this as required. So once you do that, you see this, there is a gray squiggly here. That means this is not used. Okay, that this empty tag, so I have to use this. And for that, what we will do, we will go here. So after the input tag, okay, just above the label, I'll create a div with a class of icon. Okay, and inside this I'll have two span tags, and the span tags will have a class of pi check, and it'll have text of text success. So it'll give me a green color check mark. Okay, let me save the changes and see it here. Okay, something is broken. What is it? Okay, yeah, I don't have the user login yet. Let's create this method in our TypeScript file. I have to import the ng form. So ng form will be imported from Angular forms. So once you do that, you hit save, and there is. So do you see this green check mark here? Similarly, I'll also have another icon here for the red cross. So this will be my there is no pi cross, there is pi times. Okay, hit save, and this will be text danger. Save it. Now we have the tick mark and the cross both. So we'll do the same thing for the password here, and I'm gonna put it here. Okay, so let's see. Okay, perfect. Now we have to position these. So for that, we will use the SCSS file here for the logon component, just this one, and I'll use an inbuilt class that automatically gets appended. So the classes which I'm using here, that which are ng invalid and ng touched, these are inbuilt classes. So if you inspect these elements, right, you'll see these have classes like ng untouched, ng pristine, ng valid. These are automatically injected by Angular. Similarly, when you touch it, okay, and make it dirty, so these will get other classes or also like ng invalid or ng what do you call, touched. Okay, so when we get those, if it's an invalid, if the form input is invalid and touched, I want to give it a border color of red. And how you can make it invalid? By simply touching it and removing your cursor. Okay, because this is a required field. So if I click it and go out, so it should give me that particular red border. Okay, let's quickly complete it and we'll see. And on input.ng valid, we want to give it a border color of green. Save. Let's see. Okay, we have a green color here, so it's still showing as valid, although we have marked it as required. All right, so the way you have to mark it invalid is by doing a check. So we have to use this email template variables. Right, so let's do that. So we'll use this, we'll show this span tag only if the email is doesn't have errors and email is touched. And for the other one, we'll copy the same condition. Oops. We'll click here, and this time it will be if it has errors and touched. So save the changes. So initially, okay, it's green, still green here. Let me see what am I missing here. Email placeholder. Oh yeah, I'm missing a name. Okay, so name is important whenever you're using template driven form approach. Yeah, refresh it, click, go outside. Now you see the red border. Without this template, without this name attribute, this template driven approach will not work. Similarly, we have to go here, give it a name, password, and I'll simply copy these things. Okay, I'll rename them pass. So this will be password. Okay, and I'll also copy these conditions and put it here. So this time it will be pass and pass, and again you have to copy it and paste it here and remove the exclamation. Save the changes, both are gone. I see the cross here and I see the cross here. Type anything, becomes green. Okay, now going back to the SCSS, I'll have a form floating position. I'll give it a relative position so that I can position my icons. I have a div with the class icon, if you remember, and the form floating is this div. Okay, so the parent div, I made it as relative. Okay, and this icon div will have a position of absolute. The right, I want it to be 20 pixels, and on the top I want it to be 25%, and the I tags inside the divs want to have a font size of 25 pixels. Yeah, simple. Save it, go back to the browser, and now you click outside, you see a big red cross. Okay, and as soon as you type anything, you get a green cross, a green check mark. Okay, that is the form validation in place. Okay, if you want to have a email address validation, you can either go here and so it says type email. Okay, but you can also use a regular expression here to match the email format, and then it will consider that regular expression and give you the validation based on that expression. But right now we are not going to do that, so let's quickly focus on the submission part here. So the user login is getting submitted here. So if I go and type console log login dot value, save. So let's see here. If I open the developer tools, I type test. Okay, so this login button does nothing, and I know, where is this login button? Login. Yeah, there it is. It has a href, which should not be the case, and I want to change this from a to button, and the type will be submit. Okay, see, hit save. Test login. There we go. We have the results here in the console. Perfect. And if you want, you can disable the button based on the form state. So let's quickly do that. Disabled form, sorry, login dot invalid. Save. So initially this button will be disabled. You can't click it, and if any of the fields is not properly filled, so it will get disabled. Okay, but it still works now. So let's quickly work on the API service. Okay, so we need to send this request to our API, and for that we have to have a method, correct? So let's quickly fill the method here. So first I'll say if my login is invalid due to any reason, and ideally you will not hit this method, but in case if you fiddle around with the developer tools or anything like that, and you manage to hit the login button and the form is still invalid, it will simply return and do nothing. But if it's valid, I want to get the login data, and in the form of an object. So the first one will be email. That will be from login dot value dot email, and oops, not here. Next is your password. So login dot value dot password, and these attributes come from the name attribute. Okay, so if you name it like password123, so you have to change it here to value dot password 123. Okay, so once you get the login data, okay, then you have to call your API service for authentication. So we'll park it here, and let's go back to API service. I'm gonna minimize this. We don't have any method here as of now to authenticate the user or log in the user. So let's create a method quickly. Login, and this will take email string and a password as a string, and this method will return or will go to my API URL, and it will be a post request. So post of type any. Okay, and this will be, so I'm using the backticks. Go to my auth login endpoint, and since it's a post request, it needs a body, so it will be email and password. And also I will use with credentials true, so that it will capture the credentials, or can use the cookies, I believe. Okay, so make sure you do that, and once you do that, all right, you get a response. So this will be an observable. So I will not subscribe here. Instead, we'll use the pipe operator to do some operations. So under that, we'll use the tap operator, and this tap operator is a part of the RxJS module. So make sure you import that, and then so it will give me a value of type of some type, right? So this value will have a success attribute or property rather. And once, if the success attribute is there, then I want to set the auth state to true. It will emit a true value, the observable, and the user observable will emit the value dot user, which will be coming from the backend. Else, if that's not the case, the auth state will simply say false. Okay, simple. And you have to call this method here in your login component. So let's do that. So under here, this.api service, I don't have that injected. Let's inject that quickly. Private API service. I hope you now know how to inject services in Angular using the constructor. So once you do that, API service dot login. So it will be login data dot email, login data dot password, and then you subscribe here. Okay, so you'll get a response, and this response will have the user. So if the user dot roles equals to admin and the rest dot success is there, so I'll display a message here. So for that, I will use the message service from PrimeNG. I'll also inject the router from Angular router. So the message will be, the way you use the message service is using the add function, and this takes in some argument or properties. So the severity, I'll choose info, and summary, I'll say success, and there is a detail property, so I'll say authentication successful, and the lifetime, or it'll be 1500 milliseconds. And then once this is done, I'll use a set timeout to send the user to the front end after 1500 milliseconds. So this dot router dot navigate by URL, simply send it to the default route. That's my home route. Okay. Else, if that's not the case, if it's not an admin, okay, so I'll simply copy the message here, put it here, and the type will be error. So failed attempt, and here, since it's not an admin, you are not authorized to view this page. And also there might be an instance where you getting an error instead of a response. So just after this uh, success call, we'll look for errors, and if we got an error of type HTTP error response, so we'll add a message, and it'll be pretty much the same thing here, except it'll say failure and then the backticks, use backticks. So error dot status. So this, since this error object is of type HTTP error response, so it has got some properties, and the detail will be again backticks error dot status text. Okay, so let's see, save the changes, and I go back here. It says message service has no provider. Okay, let's see. So login component is a part of my app module here. I don't see the message module. Let's see. Table module, tab module, toast module. We have the toast module here. I have to go here and provide message service from prime ng. Okay, save it, and this should work. Okay, perfect. We go to login, and let's say we give it a random entry. Okay, so it says CORS policy access control allow origin header is present on the request. So let's quickly see that. I have to open the API, new window, and let's see what do we have here in CORS. So credentials true. Let's save it. Let's see this works, and our API should have restarted, hopefully. Access control allow origin headers present on the request. This is working. Okay, so let's say should not be wildcard. So for the time being, I'm gonna use localhost 4300. Okay, save it. So now it got restarted, and here I hit login. Okay, it says unauthorized. Okay, but I'm not getting any toast notification, right? And why is that? Let's see. Let's go back to our Angular here. So for that, in the check whether we have added the required CSS files here. See, we have added prime ng. Main.css, icons, themes, everything is there. Just give me a sec. Right, prime icons, everything is there. So in our login component, okay. So to get that toast, you have to add the markup, which is p toast. Okay, and I'll give it a position top center. So if you don't add this toast markup, you will not see the toast notifications. So let's add it again, and found the synthetic listener. Okay, browser animations module. We'll go back to app module here and browser animations module. Save the changes. Let it reload. Test. There you go. It says unauthorized login. And now if you enter a proper user, I think this is a valid user. Let's see. Yeah, you get success, authentication successful, and then you get redirected. So you can check it again. Go to login. Give. So this is Wonder Woman, and she has admin rights. This is Super Mario. So it says you're not authorized to view this page, although the login was successful. But since this is not an admin, you get this failed attempt. But if I change this to w@w.com and hit login, it says authentication successful, and I get forwarded to my dashboard. Okay, so this is all about the authentication. Next time we will see how we can survive a reload, and if I am logged in, I should not be able to go back to this login page. So we'll see how we can accomplish that in the next video. So till then, make sure you like this video, share this tutorial series with your friends, colleagues, and your teammates. If you have any suggestions or any complaints, please feel free to put those in the comment section below of this video. So till then, please stay tuned for more videos, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye, and have a wonderful day.